All right, so the Buffalo Bills beat the Jets 18-10, and this was a disappointing performance overall wise. I don't care what people have to say. I will give the Bills credit as we go along with this video, but the fact of the matter is that the Bills won this game 18-10. We played piss poor. I thought in the overall wise in the first half, we played a lot better in the second half. We played like how I kind of expect them to play against the worst team in football. But like I said, we'll go over that. But I just want to just get that out the way. We did not, even though we got the win, it was a bittersweet victory. I understand it's the NFL. A win is a win. You got to take it no matter what. But with New England coming up and with almost the toughest part of our schedule coming up in the second half, you expect this Bills team at this point of the season to play a lot better than what they did compared to the last couple of weeks, which a lot of people's excuse was, well, those are the best two teams in football. What about this pitiful performance we did against the Jets? What about this performance we did against the Jets? So I want to hear. It's gonna be funny to hear Bills fans' excuse for why we did not play up to our standards, at least in the first half compared to what we did in the second half. But yeah. I mean, I'll give the Bills credit for this. We played a lot better in the second half. Defensively, we were able to get to the quarterback a lot. We were able to stop the run a lot better in the second half. The Bills' defense finally looked like the Bills' defense of old from last year. I think that was actually the first glimpse, I think, since the Jets game back during Week 1, where the first half we played great, and then the second half was a little bit of a letdown. I think Sam Darnold had less than 30 yards against the Buffalo Bills in the second half in passing, as well. So, but the first half was piss poor. Again, another not really a good performance by this Bills defense in the first half. Frank Gore in this rushing attack was pretty much running all over the Buffalo Bills. Sam Darnold pretty much did what the hell he wanted to do. We barely got any pressure at all on Sam Darnold at all. Denzel Mims, no matter what type of coverage we played, was a guy that was consistently getting wide open. We did not do good on the third down conversions as well a little bit earlier on. Now we got better. We got better at that in the late in the first half, but third down conversions is the Buffalo Bills' Achilles heel. Besides their rush defense and the fact that they kind of failed to get pressure on the quarterback, but this Bills defense did not play good as well in the first half. But offensively, Brian Daboll, this offense, you're not getting away with it either because we didn't play well in the first half as well. And I don't know if that's because John Brown is out. I mean, again, with John Brown, Stephon Diggs being in the same team, being in the same field, and with them being healthy, they can stretch vertically down the football field, right? They can do overall routes, crossing routes. They could do inside post, streaks. I mean, they could stretch the ball. They could stretch vertically down the field, freeing up the underneath routes like Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis. So I don't know if that's the issue. I don't know. That honestly seems like the more logical reason why I think the Buffalo Bills haven't been doing really good offensively, especially with Josh Allen, the way he was averaging 300 yards and 400 yards passing to kind of what he's looking now. The first half, the Jets played back. I mean, they did not let the Buffalo Bills go vertically down the field on them. They pretty much forced everything underneath, and they were ready for it. And I got to give the Jets credit because even though Josh Allen had 150 yards passing in the first half, a lot of those passes were dink and dunk throws underneath anyway. So I got to give the Jets credit for that. They played really good defense, and again, they played good defense for the most part overall. I thought the entire game, right? Even though they gave up a bunch of yards, the fact of the matter is that the Buffalo Bills were 0 for 6 in the red zone. They were 0 for 6 in the red zone. So I got to give the Jets and Greg Williams credit for formulating the game plan. Even though, again, the Titans exposed it, then the Chiefs followed up with it, and then obviously Greg Williams followed up with it, adding on his own little specs to his defensive scheme for this football game. But Brian Daboll had no answer at all for what Greg Williams was allowing. He could not make the big explosive plays down the field. Josh Allen looked very uncomfortable in the first half, looked a little tense. And this offense, as good as, but we've seen the potential that this Bills offense has, but the running game sucks. Josh Allen was our leading rusher with 67 yards. He was our leading rusher. We had to go back to doing, QB design runs and read option plays and quarterback draws because the rushing attack sucks. This offensive line is not good against the run game. And when you're missing guys like Quentin Spain, you're missing guys like Feliciano in your lineup, that's a big hit because Brian Winters and I think what's his name, Guttenberg, those two guys suck. They suck in the inside at the guard position. Those guys are not good football players against the run. They're not good linemen. Quentin Williams was pretty much stealing lunch money from Brian Winters or Guttenberg, or Mitch Morse. No matter who he was lined up against those three, the inside interior rush from the New York Jets absolutely completely dominated our rushing attack, and once again, we couldn't do anything at all. Couldn't do anything at all in the rushing game. Like I said, the second half, we played a lot better. We played like how I kind of expected this team to play in the beginning of the season. The passing game finally worked. It seemed like Brian Daboll was able to adjust and was able to make plays and really crack some holes in that Greg Williams defense. We were able to run the ball a little bit better. Zach Moss was finally able to make some explosive plays. But the fact that we were 0 for fucking 6 in the red zone against the worst team in pro football it's concerning. And, I said this last week. Even though we're on top of our division, this Bills team has a bunch of holes. And, again, we do have some promise. We did play better in the second half. But, this is, again, it's against the Jets. So, does this win really hold any merit? Did that second half hold any merit going into next week? Do we take that and use that as, okay, maybe we have some hope against the Patriots? It's hard to tell when you're playing the worst team in football against the Jets. And the way that we performed in that first half was absolutely disgraceful against the worst team in football. And now we're playing New England, which you already know has one of the best defenses in football. Bill Belichick plays the Bills better than almost any other team in the league. Belichick is a mastermind. The Patriots have the defensive personnel to not only lock down our receivers, but to also stuff the run game. It doesn't even matter anyway in that department because the Bills' run game sucks in the first anyway. So you already know that's going to be taken away. But the Patriots also have a really good secondary that can also take that passing attack away. And I don't know if John Brown is going to be healthy. John Brown's been hurt the last 3-4 games of the season. I don't know. I just don't know. Like I said, a win's a win, 5-2, but it's a bittersweet win because I don't feel good going into next week into New England. And that could be for the division. That game right there could literally be the division. Again, we play the Patriots twice. But when you have an opportunity to take that division if you win that game, you're 4-1 in the division. You're 4-1 in the division if you beat the Patriots. And you take, a 2 to 3 game lead? You take a 2-game lead over a 2-3 game lead, depending if the Patriots lose tonight. But, again, depending on what happens, you take a 2-3 game lead over the Patriots. If you win, I don't feel confident at all that they'll beat the Patriots. I don't feel confident. Because the fact that we were 0 for 6 in the red zone, and we were the only team that didn't score 20 points on this football team. Again, everybody else scored more than 20-something points on this football team, and it's been nothing but blowouts against the Jets. We struggled against the Jets. Now, granted, we missed 6 points. Tyler Bass missed 2 field goals. But the fact that we couldn't even score a touchdown in the red zone is concerning to me. Again, talk about another game where we had more than 5 fucking penalties in a football game. And we talk about discipline. McDermott talks about this is a disciplined football team. The last 3 games, we haven't been disciplined. We looked uncomfortable. We lacked passion. We lacked to play with any effort. Again, the second half, we played a lot better in the second half. But I don't know. We lacked urgency. The sideline, and again, the coaching staff looked dead on the sideline. Again, we looked like we didn't have any answer. This is concerning. And if any Bills fan is not concerned over this one against the Jets, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, what does it take for you to realize that this Buffalo Bills team is not as good as we think it is? It's not. We'll be lucky enough if we can even win the damn division this year. We'll be lucky enough if we can make the playoffs. Because with Seattle and Arizona, New England twice, you play the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up on your schedule, I honestly don't know if we can even make it. It may sound like an exaggeration. But this performance against the Jets and the last two performances against elite football caliber football teams, we have showed that we don't belong and we can't compete. We're 5-2, but it's a bittersweet 5-2. I'm not confident that even at 5-2 right now that we can finish the road. We have a long regular season to go, and I'm not feeling good about this. Maybe you guys will. Maybe you guys can tell me why in the comment section. But this team looked absolutely pitiful. They looked putrid. This team looked this performance was just an embarrassing performance by the Buffalo Bills. I can't even really fucking talk right now because of how much I hated this performance. But anyway, guys, I'm not going to drag the video any further. You guys get my drift. This team, that's all I got to say. Anyway, Gen716, aka Gen Sports, I'm out.